everyone. Good evening. I hope you all are doing well. And before we start with the actual discussion, uh, I would like to call Shoaib sir and Sachi ma'am. They both are the rankers. Shoaib sir is an IAS officer from 23 batch, and Sachi ma'am, she is from 24 batch. So please come, Sachi ma'am. So thank you. So in this session, you all know what we are going to do. We will be talking about the two most important aspects as far as the preparation is concerned, especially the mains preparation is concerned. And that is the notes making, the very first thing, and identifying the probable topics for 2026. Right. Because I think these are the two gray areas where we find a lot of issues, right? Like identifying the themes, the probable themes, and how to basically prepare the notes. Many students I have seen, they are struggling a lot when it comes to the notes making. But trust me, my friends, notes making and identifying the probable themes are not two different things. If you are going to identify if you are going to follow a right approach to identify the probable topics, definitely your notes are going to be good enough. But the problem कहाँ पे है कि हम लोग PYQ ये सब चीजें एनालाइज ही नहीं कर रहे हैं. So that is the reason. So in this session, we are going to walk through the step-by-step process which you need to follow. If you have a pen and paper, online students, please sit with a pen and paper. It is very important to write the steps which we are going to follow, because if you are going to skip the test, again, you will fall back to the same strategy which you might have been following in last couple of years, especially if you are veterans. Because I have seen the veterans are more reluctant when it comes to the notes making. Right? So because they think like they have read everything, they have access to the PDF online videos, but at the same time, if you are fresher, then I really want all of you to understand the process. This is not some kind of capsules which we are going to provide here. We are just only going to discuss the process which you all are supposed to follow. And before we start the mains camp program, whatever we are going to discuss, everything is a part of this mains camp program. It is an intense answer writing program. And before answer writing, what we will be doing, we will be conducting the live Zoom sessions on a weekly basis on Saturday, Sunday. It is going to be a very intense class where we will be talking about where we will be brainstorming the previous year's questions. And based on that, you will be preparing the notes. Once your notes will be prepared, then you can attempt the test, right? So it is not only answer writing program. It is more of brainstorming the previous year's questions, preparing the notes, and then answer writing. Obviously, the rankers are part of this program as well. Sachi ma'am will be there. Shoaib sir will be there. So if you will have any doubt, definitely you can come and you can discuss. After the test, there will be a live discussion which will be conducted again by the rankers and senior mentors, senior faculties. And after that, again, if you have any doubt, you can book one-to-one session with anyone. I hope this is clear, right? So I'll be picking up one topic, and Shoaib sir will be taking another topic, and Sachi ma'am will be taking another topic. So there will be three topics which we are going to deal in this class, and we will walk you through the step-by-step process, right? But before that, let's understand what are the important component which we have to consider. So I'll call you, sir. Okay. Okay. So, but before that, how many of you have gone through the mains question paper? 25 ka, have you gone through the previous year's question, like the mains GS2, GS3 paper? Have you gone through it? Okay. After going through it, what have you understood? You just have gone through it, or you have done any analysis? Just going through it, don't count it. That is how you go through the previous year's question. You just look at it, right? After that, do you apply any kind of logic, like how to strategize your preparation, how to prepare the notes, how to identify the probable themes? बस खाली हम लोग देखते हैं previous year's questions हैं क्या वो, right? We don't actually do anything with the previous year's question. So first, I'll pull up the previous year's question, and based on that, we will start our discussion. Where is the PPT? Okay. So this is the question. All of you online student, can you see the question paper? Is it visible? Is it visible to everyone? Okay. Now I want you to focus on three most important concepts, right? I want you to understand the nature of the question, right? Nature of the question means whether the question can be attempted by using the logic only, or whether the question is based on the previous year's question, or whether the question is based on the current affairs. Right? So these are the three important aspects you need to link. Whether the question can be solved by using the logic. Logic means मैं अभी बताऊंगा what exactly the logic means. Whether the question is based on the previous year's questions or it has come from the previous year's question. And the third part is whether it is purely current affair based question. Right? And fourth part, which you need to understand, is whether the question is directly from your notes. Whether the question is directly from your notes. Because it is humanly, it is not possible to prepare the notes of each and every topic. Right? We cannot prepare the notes on each and every topic. So we have, and the notes on the probable topic everyone is making. Right? अब जैसे parliamentary privileges, fundamental rights, right? Then basic structure doctrine, right? Constitutional morality. These are the topics on which everyone have the notes. But what about those topics which are very, which you can say, which are application based, right? So we will see whether the question is directly from your notes or not. So as of now, I'm assuming you already have the notes, basic notes I'm talking about, which everyone have. If you are preparing for this exam seriously. Okay. Now, let's go through the question paper first. And I want you to participate. You need to tell me whether this question can be solved by using logic, previous year's question, current affair, or notes. This is the most important part you all need to understand. Only then you will be able to understand where to put the focus in next 3 months. Because the next 3 months, you all know that it's very crucial, right? After January, you all are going to be occupied with the prelims. So whatever you have to do for the mains, it's only in the next 3 months. After that, forget about it. So the purpose of this session is just to make sure that you are comfortable with the mains preparation as far as the notes making is concerned, as far as the answer writing is concerned, in just next 100 days. And that is the main motto of this camp program as well. Now, look at this question. The first question. Discuss the corrupt practices for the purpose of Representation of People Act. Analyze whether the increase in the assets of legislators and their associates disproportionate to their known sources of income would constitute undue influence and consequently a corrupt practices. Yes, this question is from RPA Act तो है, that is fine. जो मैंने 4 words बताए थे, out of those 4 aspects, from where the question is. PYQ. Yes, Divyanshu, very good. This question is, the first part of the question is from the previous year's question. There is a question, I think UPSC has asked few years back. Do you think there is a need for simplification of the disqualification process under the corrupt practices? Right? So this was the question UPSC has already asked. So the first part of the question is what? It is PYQ, and the second part is logic. Do you think if you would have prepared the notes on the RPA Act, I'm sure if someone is following the previous year's question, obviously they would prepare the notes on the corrupt practices, like various provisions, right? Various sections of the RPA Act. But what about the second part? Second part का आंसर किसी के नोट्स में होगा? Tell me frankly. Answer is no. Here you have to apply the logic. whether the increase in the assets of legislatures or their associates disproportionate to their known sources of income would constitute undue influences and consequently a corrupt practices. Now, this is the question where you have to think how to apply the logic, how to develop a framework so that you can generate the point right then and there. Because you will not have a time to sit and think and write. If you do not have any framework, the templates, how are you going to generate the points? Either your point will be too vague. So, the sessions which we will be conducting in the mains camp, in those sessions, we will be talking about the logic only, how to think about the framework. I will show you what are the various frameworks based on the questions, then you can think, right? For example, in this, right, just try to understand the question. Increase in the assets of legislators or their associates disproportionate to their known sources of income would constitute undue influence. How can you apply the logic in this? Tell me, is there any logic we can apply to generate the point? भाई क्या आंसर लिखोगे इसमें? At different level, at different aspects, you need to understand how it can influence the electoral process. How it can influence the electoral process. Tell me. Or how the electoral process will be compromised if a candidate have black money, for example. How it is going to, yes? I want the framework. At what level are you thinking? Lack of level playing field for whom? Maitri, for whom? Lack of level playing field for political parties, for the political candidates, right? Suppose there are two candidates. One candidate is holding a black money. So obviously he will be able to, or he or she will be able to influence the electoral process, right? Power play, yes. So that is how you have to focus, brainstorm the question, right? So from political level, you can think, or sorry, as far as the election process is concerned, you can think. As far as the constitutional morality is concerned, you can think, right? As far as the basic structure doctrine is concerned, right? Free and fair election. Don't you think it is a part of basic structure doctrine? So from free and fair election point of view, you can think. From accountability point of view, you can think. Right? So this is how you will be able to generate the point. Otherwise, there is no way you can generate the point. So this is the framework I'm talking about. And this is the area where we are not focusing at all. Bhai, aap kitne bhi answer likh lo, trust me. If you are not brainstorming the questions, your answers will not be the best answers. Otherwise, how are you going to ensure the diversity? Diversified point kahan se aayenge aapke answer mein? That is what you need to understand. So that is the reason identifying the themes is not only important, the framework is also important. So when you will be preparing the notes, there are two things you need to understand. One is identifying the themes, and based on these themes, what are the various framework for every topic. Now you will be surprised to know not lot of topics are actually important. भाई अगर पूरी पॉलिटी को मैं ब्रेक डाउन कर दूं, how many topics do you think are extremely important from where UPSC asks the question every year? Hardly, I think there will not be more than 12-13 topics, right? In fundamental rights, starting from the constitution, right? Constitution mein philosophy of the constitution, like constitutional morality, constitution as a living document, then different phases of the constitution, interpretation of the constitution, right? Then fundamental rights, maybe right to equality, article 19, 21 and 25 to 28 maybe, right? From Article 32 is also important, but from last 15 years, UPSC has not even asked a single question. So if the UPSC has not even asked a single question, and there is no update under Article 32, so chances are very less that the UPSC will ask the question from that topic. Because see, you need to understand, if there is no evolution in the topic, chances are very less that topic will be appearing in your exam. So you need to identify which topic is there in the PYQ, and if it is evolving in the nature. If it is evolving in the nature, how to check the topic is evolving in the nature? Just whenever you are preparing the notes, go on the Google, just go to the Google News and look for it. Is there any update related to this topic? Trust me, last year I was able to predict many questions as far as GS paper 2 is concerned. And not last year only. From last 5-6 years, I have been doing it. I have been suggesting students, and who all have followed it, they were very comfortable with especially GS paper 2 and 3, because it is very dynamic. We all know that, right? So this is the idea. So this question is from PYQ and logic. Now, let's understand this question. Comment on the need of administrative tribunals as compared to the court system. Assess the impact of recent tribunal reforms through rationalization of tribunals made in 2021. Now, many students have raised the question in front of me. So 21 का current affair पढ़ के आए क्या अब हम? Right? And this doubt is in your mind also. अब 21 का current affair कहां से पढ़ के आए? Because the rationalization of tribunals happened in 2021, where the some tribunals were merged, some were, I think, unko hata diya gaya tha. For example, film certified board, it was a tribunal. Then some tribunals was related to the cess, right, excise duties and all. So now, but this question, do you think this question, the answer of this question will be in the notes? Answer is no. How can you have, you cannot go back to 21 and prepare the notes on this topic? I'll tell you what you are going to have in your notes. Significance of tribunals, what are the issues with the tribunals, and what are the suggestions. Those are the 3 aspects you might have in your notes. But in this topic, I can understand you can write down the first part. That is the significance of tribunal as far as the court system is concerned, right? What about the second part of the question? And now, one more thing. I'll tell you what is the advantage of having brainstorming the session questions. How are you going to make differences in the first part of the question and second part of the question? Read the question. First is the need of administrative tribunals, right? And second is assess the impact. Don't you think it will be overlapping? How are you going to highlight the differences? Tell me the point. Tell me 2 points. Which one point which you will be writing in comment? Sorry, the first part of the question and not in the second part of the question. Just only 1 point I am asking. I'm not even asking the entire answer. That is the first demand. You have correctly understood. I am asking the point. मुझे point बताओ. हाँ, so it will be under the need or it will be under the assessment? Under both, right? That is what I am saying. That is what I am saying. The point will be under both. The same, but actually it is not the case. Actually, it is not the case. So in the first part, comment on the need of administrative tribunals. So basically in this part, we need to highlight the significance of tribunals system, right? Why the tribunal system was established, what was the purpose. In the second part of the question says assess. What does it mean assess? Assess का मतलब क्या होता है? Yes? What do you mean by assess? In simple term. Critically analyze? फिर critically analyze क्या होता है? That is a very basic thing ki, see, analyze, comment, examine, evaluate, illustrate, इन सब में challenges, significance challenges, issues जाएंगे because they all are the critical command words, right? But what does it mean, assess? हाँ, that is ठीक है. Rating challenges plus positive, Amit, again it's the same. Even in the comment we will write the same thing, challenges and positive. See, assess means what? Suppose you go to a doctor, right? Doctor prescribes some medicines to you for a week, maybe for 10 days. And after 10 days, doctor calls you back. कि भाई आ जाना वापस, I will assess the condition. I will assess the condition. And based on the improvement in your health, I will provide you the assessment. That is what we call as an assessment. So in this case, what will be the assessment? Since the rationalization of tribunals took place in 21, what has been the impact of this in terms of simplification of the process as far as the various tribunals are concerned, as far as the transparency is concerned, as far as the accountability is concerned? These are the points will go into the second part of the question. In the first part, you are talking about the significance. In the second part, you are talking about the functionality of the tribunal systems. Or, after this change, rationalization of tribunal system. So in that terms, achievement, yes, Maitri, achievement, what has been the achievement after the government has rationalized the tribunal system? So focus on the achievement, not the significance. For example, the tribunal system was established to reduce the burden of court system, judiciary. Now you have to assess, is there any reduction in the pending of cases or not? That is the assessment you are providing, right? So, अब ये brainstorming नहीं करोगे, तो how would you identify what are the keywords? What does it mean? Right? So this question is again based on pure logic. Because as far as the need is concerned, we can divide like socio-economic perspective से, judiciary के perspective से, we can generate n number of points. No issues in that. But second part में you need to apply the brainstorming. So this question is again pure logic. I'll just go through it quickly and then I'll come to the main part. Then compare and contrast the president's power to pardon in India and in USA. Are there any limits to it in both the countries? What are preemptive pardons? This is a very static question, right? But I assume in our foundation classes, at least we learn about the government system in both the countries, right? Current affairs, sir, bidden, pardoned recently, yes. Even this question is based on the current affair also. But even I can link this question with, because there was current affair as far as the India is concerned, because there was debate whether there should be a fixed time limit for the president to exercise its pardoning power, right? So there was a debate on this. So in both the contexts, this question is based on the current affair. But logically, if you have to think how to generate the point, can anyone tell me, is there any framework, logic you can apply? What are the see, if you have to compare both the power of the US and India president, there has to be some broad aspects which you will be writing on the left side, based on which you are going to generate the point. What are those aspects? That is what I am thinking. I want to know. Judicial review. What else? First, start with the constitution itself, man. Right? Then judiciary. Then scope. Then nature. Then limitations. Then application. कितने point हो गए? 5 point हो गए ना, 5-6 point. As far as the constitutional angle is concerned, as far as judicial scrutiny is concerned, as far as the scope is concerned, as far as the nature is concerned, as far as the limitation is concerned. So when you are comparing any bodies, don't focus on the content, focus on the broad aspects first. It will be so easy for you to generate the points logically. Are you getting my point? So I am emphasizing more on the framework as well as demand of the question also. So this question is again pure logical as well as from current affair. Then discuss the nature of J&K after the J&K Reorganization Act 2019. Briefly describe the powers and function of Assembly of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Does this question require any specialized knowledge? If you know what is the role of Legislative Assembly, you can write down the answer, right? But wahan pe you will not even think like that. Wahan pe your state of mind will be different. You will be shocked. यार ये कहां से, ये तो पढ़ा ही नहीं था मैंने J&K Reorganization Act के बारे में. I should skip this question. Let's move on to the next question. This is exactly what happens. This is exactly what happens, right? So you have to maintain the calm. You have to be composed when you are sitting in the examination hall, and that will only come when you know. Let the question be anything. I have developed that skill to brainstorm the question. Somehow I will be able to frame the answer. Utna confidence hona chahiye, and that is what we are promising in the mains camp program. कि 3 महीने में आपको उतना कॉन्फिडेंस जरूर आ जाएगा. Let question be anything. You will not going to leave the page blank. That is for sure. Right? So now, Attorney General previous year's question, right? Women's social capital complements in advancing empowerment and gender equity. What? Logical previous year's what? Pure logical, man. If you don't know what is social capital, what do you mean by social capital? Networking. Now you have to think how women are the part of various networking, be it cooperative, be it self-help group, be it civil society organization, be it even at panchayat level. Now you can think, you can develop the point, right? How it will lead to women empowerment. Ab empowerment ko break down kar do. Social empowerment, economic empowerment, gender empowerment, right? So this is how you can generate the point. So this is again a pure logical question. Then e-governance projects have built-in bias towards technology and back-end integration, then user-centric design. I think this is the 4th time UPSC has asked this question, but the language is different, right? PYQ, civil society organization are often perceived as being anti-state actors. Again, PYQ. Then I'm not touching the international relation. Abhi khali polity pe focus kar raha hu. Then constitutional morality, PYQ. Indian Constitution has conferred the amending power. It's a PYQ. Repeated question. Discuss the evolution of collegiate system, PYQ. Examine the evolving pattern of center-state financial relation in the context of planned development in India. Again, PYQ. What are the environmental pressure groups? PYQ. Inequality in the ownership pattern of resources is one of the major causes of poverty. This is, you can say, not again. This question is not in the PYQ directly, but this question can be solved only by using the logic. अब इसके notes कौन बना के घूम रहा होगा अपनी notebook में? No one. You have to apply the logic to generate or to develop the answer, right? Then in the contemporary development models, decision-making and problem-solving responsibilities are not located close to the source of information and execution, defeating the objective of development, right? So again, this is a pure logical question. You will not have the notes for this in your notebook, right? So overall, after watching the paper, what do you think out of these 4 words which I have mentioned? PYQ, logic, current affair, and notes. What do you think is more important? PYQ and logic. Now ask yourself how much time you are devoting for these two aspects. Tell me. 80% of the question we can solve using the PYQ and the logic. Where are we focusing then? Even when you are writing the answers after joining the test series, how much time you are spending with your friends or maybe in brainstorming session? How much time? आप खाली आंसर लिख के आ जाते हो. You just go and vomit whatever you read. You don't think. You don't develop the habit of brainstorming, and that is the reason. Sargam, I am going to come to that part. How to analyze a PYQ? That is the next part. We will just start with that. So basically, these are the two components which we are going to focus in the camp. In the pre-test discussions, which we will be conducting in the week on a weekend. In that session, we will be dealing with the PYQ as right. PYQ हम लोग एक-एक question देखेंगे. We will identify the themes, the framework, and after that, you can write the test based on the theme. And you all know that there will be a live time-bound manner test on a daily basis. 5 questions every day. So the entire syllabus will be completed like that. Right? Now the next part comes, which is again very, very important. And that is the notes making and the framework. This part you need to understand. Notes plus framework. And the third part is probable topics. How to identify. Right? These are the 3 broad aspects which we are going to talk about. So far, everything clear? Any doubt? किसी को logics जो concept है, has everyone understood what exactly is the logic? Right? Logic is nothing but developing a habit to generate the point within the framework. So framework को generate कैसे करना है? That is the brainstorming actually, or that is, you can say, the logic is. Now, so the very first thing which you need to understand is basically this is a syllabus of polity, right? Now, my question to you is very simple question I am going to ask. If suppose you have to, how to develop analysis of PYQ, sir? Mandem, I am going to explain that. Please just wait for a minute. If suppose I ask you, go and prepare the note on center-state relation, how are you going to do that? What are the steps you are going to follow? हम लोग कैसे start करते हैं? We will go to our notes, what we might have prepared, starting from the Lakshmikant. सबसे पहले जाएंगे Lakshmikant पढ़ लेंगे. Right? After reading Lakshmikant, 80% of the student will think they have read everything about the center-state relation. Right? And they will go and attempt the test. After the test, they will realize 80% of the knowledge which they have gained after reading the Lakshmikant was useless. Right? This is exactly what happens. Because in Lakshmikant, you are reading just the concepts. Question aa gaya, application based. Now you will be stuck. So as far as the notes making are concerned, there are 2 types of notes. One are active notes and one is the passive notes. Passive notes are those notes which you prepare after reading some books like Lakshmikant. You are watching some online video, you are just making it randomly. Basically, the random notes which you all are preparing, those are basically the passive notes. I'm talking about the active notes. What are active notes? Active notes are basically nothing. They are the application-based notes. They are application based notes. What do you mean by application based notes? For example, I'll give you a very simple example. You all have the notes on the basic structure doctrine. Huh? What all aspects you have? What all aspects you have written in your notes? I'm talking about if you have to tell me how, if suppose I have to prepare the notes on the basic structure doctrine, what all subheading I am going to have? Tell me. Case laws. एक ही है केशवानंदी भारती केस तो जो सबको पता है. Evolution starting from. हाँ ठीक है. AK गोपालन से लेके right. Yes, land reforms and all will come. Apart from that, what? What? Component of basic structure doctrine. What else? Limitations. Challenges, right? So basically, you will be talking about 4 aspects. Mainly 3. One is the evolution, significance, challenges. Right? Because it is not defined, right? ये सब चीजें सबको ही पता है. In Constitution, it is not defined. Judiciary has tried to define it though, right? So ये 3 चीजें सबके नोट से मिलेंगी. Do you think the UPSC will going to ask you explain the concept of basic structure doctrine and write down the features or its component? Is this how the UPSC will ask the question? Direct question? Answer is no. UPSC will ask the application of this question. The application of the basic structure doctrine. Now, this is where many students are confused. अब पता कैसे करें बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन से क्वेश्चन क्या है, क्या एप्लीकेशन आ सकती है? Now, yes, PYQ, right? Now you will think PYQ. Sometime, I think UPSC has already asked the question in the context of federalism, right? It can also ask in the context of judicial independence. Judicial independence is also a part of basic structure doctrine. How did I know this is a probable theme, judicial independence? And if the UPSC is going to ask the question, it will be linked with the basic structure doctrine. How would I know? Yes, because there are issues with the judicial accountability nowadays. And judicial independence is also important. And because judicial independence is a component of, it's a part of the basic structure doctrine. But कहीं ना कहीं misuse हो रहा है उस चीज का, तो judicial accountability का issue है. So this is how UPSC can link the question with judicial accountability. So through PYQ, this part you need to understand very carefully. Through previous year's question, we get to know the themes, right? The themes which are important. Now your job is to find out how these themes are evolving in the nature. How it is evolving. How would you know it is evolving? Through current affair. कभी लिंक करके पढ़ते हो करंट अफेयर? कभी सोचा है? If I ask you what you have read, how many of you can recall the current affair from last week? I'm not even going back to last month. Last week क्या पढ़ा था करंट अफेयर में? Everything you know? Something से UPSC नहीं होगा ना. एवरेज वाली कैटेगरी UPSC बाहर खड़ा कर देगी. Not like that, okay? So this is the problem, because we are reading the current affair in silos, we are doing the PYQs in silos, there is no linkages, right? So always whenever you are reading the current affair, see, there are two ways you can do. When you are going through the previous year's questions, always keep your thoughts active. Is there any update I have read in the magazine or any current affair journal or any video? If yes, go back and pick up the current affair article or content and put it in your notes. If suppose you are reading the current affair, you have to think whether that current affair is relevant or not. How would you know that the current affair is relevant or not? By going back to the previous year's question. Is there any question UPSC has asked in last 10, 15, 20 years from this topic? So both way linking are important. Both ways linking are important. When you are reading the PYQ, think about the current affair. When you are doing the current affair, think about the PYQ. Right? I hope this is clear. So as far as the brainstorming is concerned, as far as the notes making are concerned, let's start with that. So I have picked up one topic, that is center state relation, right? So as far as the notes making is concerned, as far as templates are concerned, as far as the probable themes are concerned, you need to follow this step. Step number 1, read the basic concepts. Read basic concepts. And don't make any notes here. Don't make any notes when you are reading the basic concept. Just focus on the concept. कुछ याद करने की कोशिश नहीं करना है, ठीक है? That is step number 2. First. Second step is, after understanding the basic concepts, pick up the previous year's question. And that is what I am going to do, because I believe you all know the basic concepts as far as the center-state relation federalism is concerned, right? And in this process, the very most important part is the previous year's questions which you are going to refer has to be not year-wise, but topic-wise, micro-topic-wise. We are going to release the file of topic-wise previous year's questions. So, and through that, it will help you. For example, Article 19 se sare questions we have listed it down, right? So, micro-level analysis you can easily do. So, where is that topic? Okay, center-state fundamental duties. Okay, this is the topic, for example. If there will be any printing mistake, please don't take it. Otherwise, it's not, this file is not yet final. Functions and responsibilities of the union and states, issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure, right? Suppose this is the topic you have to prepare the notes on. Along with the notes, what you have to, in your notes, what you have to ensure? Notes means like content, then plus framework. I hope you all now you know what is the framework. आप लोगों ने template सुने होगा word, right? How many of you have heard the name templates based answer writing? Yes? Templates based answer writing, have you heard of this term? Now it is very popular in the market. Templates based answer writing. You go and find out, you will get it. 10-20 rupees में मिल जाएगा शायद PDF आपको. Template is the same thing what we have discussed, right? So the template is basically the broad framework. But the problem is, even if you are going to buy it and even if you are going to mug up it, you will not be able to apply it. So there is no shortcut to this process which we are dealing with right now, which I am trying to explain. There is no shortcut at all, right? So Shangavi, I will explain the framework, don't worry. So basically, the very first thing is, after going through this question, federalism, this is a basic concept, right? Look at these questions. 82 में क्वेश्चन पूछा है यूपीएससी ने, 88 में पूछा है, 91 में पूछा है, 2008 में पूछा है, एंड देन in 2008 there was second question, or maybe it could be a printing mistake, but these are the questions UPSC has asked. After going through these questions, do you think they are relevant in the contemporary time? Are they relevant? पढ़ तो लो, पहले ही ना बोल दिया, थोड़ा लॉजिक तो लगा लो. हाँ, नो रेलेवेंट. अब तो बोलोगे रेलेवेंट है, मैंने जब बोल दिया नहीं, मतलब क्यों रेलेवेंट है? इन व्हाट कंटेक्स्ट इट इज रेलेवेंट? हाँ हाँ, इनमें से look at these questions. Why they are relevant? Okay, what is the learning? Focus on the learning from the previous year's question. Read the first question. Question says, planning and federalism make uneasy partners. The planning operations in India have led to erosion of federalism. Right? Question was asked in 82. In 82, we had what? Planning Commission. Planning Commission used to follow what? Top-down approach or bottom-up? Top-down approach, which has led to the friction between the state and central government. Now the Planning Commission has been replaced by Niti Aayog. What is the purpose of Niti Aayog? It's a bottom-up approach, can we say? Right? And Niti Aayog is an institutional mechanism to promote the cooperation between the center and state. Because the concept of federalism in India is rooted in the cooperation, coordination between the center and state. So maybe this question is not relevant, but the nature of question, the theme is important in the context of Niti Aayog. In the context of Niti Aayog. So after reading this question, I'm going to prepare the notes how the Niti Aayog is playing a crucial role in strengthening the federal character of the country. Uska significance likh do. Are you getting my point? This is how we have to analyze the question. So this question is not useless because 82 mein pucha gaya hai. At least now you got the idea. If the Planning Commission can be linked with the federalism, why not the Niti Aayog? Right? Now when I know the Niti Aayog, I can think there are other institutional framework. Niti Aayog is one institution. What are the other institutions which promotes the cooperative federalism? Finance Commission. What else? GST Council. What else? Interstate Council, Zonal Council. जितने भी administrative functions हैं, only these institutions are responsible for that. So now the UPSC can change the language and they can frame a different question, because this question is related to the administrative federalism. Right? It will fall under the administrative federalism, basically. Understood? So now from this part, I got the theme administrative federalism. Right? Now, planning operation in India have led to erosion of same repeated question. Then write about MM Punchi Commission. Now I know the Punchi Commission, Sarkariya Commission ki recommendation is important, that I will put it in my notes. Right? Then discuss the major extra constitutional factors. What do you mean by extra constitutional factors? Yes? The extra constitutional means what? Conventions? Statutory. Okay, what else? not explicitly mentioned in the constitution, that is fine. है क्या वो बताओ. या सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशन में एक्स्ट्रा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल फैक्टर्स क्या हो सकते हैं विच कैन डिस्टर्ब, विच इज important to take into the consideration. For example, political factors, social factor, economic factor, resource factor, infrastructural factor. ये क्या फैक्टर नहीं है? हाँ, yes. Political factor, for example, political parties, regional parties and all. Economic factor में economic inequality among the states. Don't you think it affects the center state relation? What about the social factor? Health, education. In that term, obviously, Bimaru state, why they demand more fund? Because they are low as far as the social indicator is concerned. So don't you think it will disturb the center, this entire mechanism? Right? So you have to think. So from here, I will pick up the theme extra constitutional factors responsible for, or which extra constitutional factor influencing the federal character of India. Now I know. So this is the one part. Now there is another way I can think of, right? There are another way I can think of. For example, let's break down the federalism part itself. In how many parts we can break down the federalism? Executive federalism, legislative federalism, administrative federalism, fiscal federalism, asymmetric federalism. These are the part of federalism only, right? So can we use that template to generate the answer? At every level we can generate the point. Are you getting my point? Are you cheez samajh mein? So there are various ways you can think of. So basically, this is the second step. Go through each and every question. I'm not really sure how many of you are really spending the time with the previous year's question. कभी इतने ध्यान से बैठ के पढ़ा है उसको? कभी सोचते हो कि what question is demanding? How should I frame the structure? How should I frame the everything? Answer is no. So this is the second step. Now, the third step is, after going through all these questions, right? What I have got. Just quickly go through the question, then Shoaib sir will explain. For example, now look at these questions. This is from the nature of Indian federalism. This is from the concept, basic concept as far as the nature of Indian federalism is concerned. For example, analyze the causes of controversy in India in recent years about the union-state relation. What are the specific areas of discord? Don't you think this question is still relevant? 82 में पूछा है, आज भी discords हैं. This, right? So issues with the fiscal federalism. Then India is not a federation, but it has definite federal features. Elucidate what this question is talking about. Unitary features, right? Third question, briefly mention the factors which have promoted the concentration of power in the center in India. Why India has adopted the unitary feature, first of all. That is the question you should ask yourself, right? Then why is the Indian constitution called quasi-federal? So after going through all the questions, you can go through the questions later on. But let me tell you, when I will be dividing the demand of this question, finally, I will get the themes from for this topic. And my themes will look like, let me find some space so that I can write. For example, I'll tell you. Suppose center-state relation, right? And you will be surprised to see this is exactly what themes these are the themes you will get from the previous year's question. First of all, I'll read the concept of federalism and quasi-federalism. Right? I will read the basic concept. Then India has adopted the quasi-federalism. I should ask myself, why? That is the question we should ask, right? Why? Why? Right? Now there could be various factors which are responsible: social factor, political factor, economic factor, development factor, infrastructural factor. भाई यही सारे फैक्टर थे ना. Why India? That is the reason why India has adopted the quasi-federal nature. Right? So various factors. First, I will identify what are the various factors. Now, after it was decided that the nature of Indian state or the constitution is going to be quasi-federal, the power was divided. Right? The power was divided between whom? Yes. Between, for example, center and state. Right? So, and even among the states, what about the asymmetric federalism? What about asymmetric federalism? Some states, there are special provision in the constitution or not, right? So, कुछ states को थोड़ी सी extra power दे दी गई, right? Now, the biggest question comes, or the most important part: how are you going to think? Now, apply the logic. Now they have divided. Yes, there are going to be unitary features, right? And the second one is federal, right? What are the federal features? Now, these features you have to think in the terms of what? For example, in the terms of legislative, executive power, administrative, right? Finance or fiscal, even resources. These are the terms. These are the broad aspects which we have to think. How the power was divided between the center and state. How the power was shared between the center and state at each and every level. Now, imagine if there will be any problem either at legislative level, administrative level, at fiscal level, at resource level, only then the question will come. Right? So, you need to identify what are the problems on these aspects. When you are reading the center-state relation at administrative level, what are the problems? At fiscal level, what are the problems? At legislative level, what are the problems? At resource level, what is the problem? At administrative level, what is the problem? And now this is where, suppose you have prepared the problem at each level. Now the next part will come. That is the third step. Think about the current affair. Current affair. Think about the current affair. Which problem is in the news? Which aspect is currently in the news? Can anyone tell me? Among these powers, where is the problem which is, yes? Fiscal? Why? Because first of all, there is a problem because the fiscal deficit of the state is increasing, right? And even there is a debate on the terms of reference of Finance Commission recommendation. And that is the reason why UPSC has asked the question in 2025 mains. Go and check. This is how you can predict the topic. अगर आपने इनके ऊपर तो नोट्स तैयार कर लिए, but you have to focus on those topics which are currently in the news. Is there any issue related to the legislative function? What? अभी करंट में क्या चल रहा है इसके ऊपर? तमिलनाडु गवर्नमेंट, even the concurrent list debate, right? Concurrent list पे debate चल रही है. So now this part will also become important. So now I have identified the themes. Now, if there will be dispute between center and state, between center and state, I am sure now the dispute will be related to these 4-5 aspects. इसके अलावा और क्या हो सकता है? Can you think any other aspects of federalism? I think this is more than enough. यहां तक समझ में आया? Has everyone understood this part? Right? Now, since you have identified the problem, think about the suggestions, recommendation. Recommendation means you can pick up the Supreme Court judgment. You can pick up the Finance Commission recommendation. You can pick up the Punchi Commission recommendation, Sarkaria Commission recommendation. Right? That is what we write in the suggestions. So, and I'm damn sure about it. You go and check any question. Go and check any question as far as the center-state relation is concerned. You will not find any question out of this whiteboard. Every question, either it will be linked with the legislative function, administrative function, fiscal relation, or resource or administrative. इसके अलावा और कोई question नहीं आने वाला है. The statements will be different. Statement can be different. Phrases which UPSC use, but not the actual demand. This is the fourth step, which current affair part, which we'll be doing. Now, the last step in the notes making. The last step. यहाँ से आपको themes मिल गई, right? Now, the last phase is the templates, the brainstorming session. For example, I'll tell you. For example, you have to prepare the notes, right? How many federalism, at what level, what are the different level of federalism we have understood? Administrative, fiscal, executive, legislative, resource, right? यहां तक हम लोगों ने देख लिया था कि these are the broad aspects of center state as far as the center state relation is concerned. Now, sometime UPSC can ask the question, what are the issues with the functioning of quasi federal system in India? So your answer can have this template, yes or no? Now you know at these are the various level you can generate the point, yes or no? But my question is, what if the question is only related to fiscal federalism, or maybe at legislative level? How are you going to generate the point? Are you getting my point? Suppose there is a question. Discuss the issues with the fiscal federalism in India. How are you going to think? There has to be some template. There has to be some framework based on which you will be generating the points. Think in the terms of Finance Commission recommendation level. Think in the terms of constitutional grants or grant in aids. Think in the terms of what? GST. think in the terms of cess and surcharges or taxes. These are the broad aspects. Can we think or not? Right? Now I know if there will be a question on the fiscal federalism, I can use this template to generate the point. As far as disaster management is concerned, during the floods, earthquake, cyclones, the center provides a fund or not? Hana? What about as far as the development is concerned? Infrastructure development is concerned. Right? So these are, now I got how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. I have got, my notes are done. I just need to add examples after this. So my issues will be based on this. These are the templates, right? Similarly, you can pick up any topic and you can think about the templates. But this has to be done. Now the question is whether you have that much of time or not. I'm not really sure. It depends on your schedule. But this is exactly what we are going to do in the mains camp discussion, which we will be conducting on a weekend, right? I hope this is clear. So every keyword will have the template. Okay? So my part is done here. Sachi ma'am, she will take one topic, and after that, Shoaib sir will take, hardly it will take 10-15 minutes, and then you are free to go. But watch what is her insight as far as the mains is concerned, because she will be the part of this program. So I will call Sachi ma'am. Take the stage. Come on. So Sachi ma'am will be doing the same process, but for different topic. And that topic is very interesting. Let's see how much insight you can give. Okay, ma'am. So I think you are going to pick up which topic?
Article 20.
Article 21. ये तो आता होगा शायद आप लोगों को. Yes? पुत्ता स्वामी केस तो पता ही है सबको. बस एक ही चीज, हाँ. MC मेहता, दूसरा. और कुछ? मेनका गांधी. हाँ, वो जहाँ से इवॉल्व हुई ये चीजें. बस ये तीन ही केस पता है मुझे लगता है, बाकी कुछ. So we'll see what are the various framework, what are the various dimensions we need to explore. So Sachi ma'am will take. You are okay. Thank you.
Good evening, people. कैसे हैं आप सब? So as you all know, this class is not basically upon content or such thing. It's upon how you should frame your notes, because there is a lot of hype in the market ki PYQs karo, but how to do PYQs? That's our main concern, and that's what this session is for. So PYQs के लिए अब जैसे Article 21 is a very hot topic, and it's a very dynamic topic. So UPSC can mold it in any which way it wants. So we'll try to guess the probable themes based on PYQs, because understand PYQs is the most authentic source from which we can at least project or guess कि कहाँ पे जा रहे हैं questions. So that's why. अब Article 21 में लेते हैं. So everyone knows what Article 21 is, right to life and personal liberty. So अब जब आप notes बनाएंगे, what should be the flow of it? उस पे ध्यान देना है. पहले previous year questions अगर अपन discuss करें, so अगर अपन pattern को guess करते हैं, if we are to look into the pattern of the Article 21 की PYQs में, we'll see broadly hardly there would be 5 to 6 topics, and if we'll prepare those topics, we'll be able to have at least a comprehensive notes based on which we can predict that what can be like questions that can be asked in the next year paper. So if like amplitude of Article 21. What is right to life and personal liberty? What are the rights within the ambit of Article 21? So अगर ये 3 क्वेश्चंस अगर अपन लेते हैं, what does it mean? Article 21, what rights are under it and what is the scope of it? That's all. It's just the rephrasing of those questions. Amplitude, scope, ambit, it's one and the same thing. Getting my point? So अगर आर्टिकल 21 को अगर अपन एक पेपर लिया, ऊपर लिखा आर्टिकल 21, then write text and scope. What's the text under it? And then what's the scope of it? And broadening scope of it. Understanding it. Now after 2006 धीरे धीरे जैसे जैसे यूपीएससी के क्वेश्चंस इवॉल्व होते गए, एप्लीकेशन आता गया, right to clean environment and legal regulations. So one topic we got was right to environment or right to live in a pollution free environment. This is a hot topic. Second, examine the scope of fundamental rights in the latest right to privacy. We got the second topic under Article 21. Now you will see after that, whatever questions UPSC has asked under Article 21 is somewhat linked to either right to environment or right to privacy. So now we have to, when we'll be making notes of it, we'll emphasize more on right to environment and right to privacy and what all dimensions can be covered under it. Okay, this is the most significant achievement of modern law, environmental problems. Again, the same theme. The living instrument with the capabilities of enormous dynamism. Again, scope and its evolving pattern, broadening the scope. The same theme. Okay, right to privacy, interesting to life and personal. Same thing. So scope, text, scope, ambit, broadening its evolution, कैसे judicial interpretation से how it has evolved over the years, environment and privacy. That these are 4 to 5 topics which we should prepare if we are preparing any notes under Article 21. That's the whole point of this session. Not teaching you कि Article 21 में है क्या. We all know that. We all have read Lakshmikant n number of times. So how to approach? Text and scope, amplitude, and what is it? Its evolution over the years, expansion by the courts and judicial interpretation. Thematic expansion, right now, till now, we have seen that there are only 2 themes, environment and privacy. So this is how broadly an Article 21 has to be approached. And this is how any topic has to be approached based on PYQs. That we have to find the pattern of it, and then we have to make notes accordingly. Okay. So if we'll give first topic, conceptual foundation, scope and amplitude of Article 21, original text, what was its original text, and judicial creativity. How judiciary interpreted that. Like in A.K. Gopalan case, it was restricted to procedure established by law. But in Menka Gandhi case, it evolved into due process of law as well. So it has evolved over the years. And after due process of law, after Menka Gandhi case and Keshwanand Bharati case, Constitution in general went into a transformative phase as well. So that is distinction, right to life versus right to personal liberty. Now I'm not here to tell you what is the difference between them. It's upon you. I'm just giving you the gist that these are the broad themes which you should have in your mind while preparing your notes. The flow of your notes should be in this pattern. Living instrument doctrine, again, dynamic interpretation of the Constitution. That Constitution is not a dead document. It's a living instrument. It will keep on adapting as per the needs of society and changes. Judicial expansion of Article 21. Again, A.K. Gopalan case. Then liberal expansion, Menka Gandhi, due process but plus reasonableness. That the procedure which has been established by the law, is it reasonable, fair, and just? That's the whole point of Menka Gandhi case was. Expansion into socio-economic rights. Now, one more thing. Article 21 has to be linked with other articles as well, like DPSP. So it has to be, there must be any like more articles in constitution which are directly or indirectly linked to article 21. So you have to find out and you have to establish linkages between them broadly. No, you do not have to go deep into that, but just have an idea and prepare notes and prepare the basic dimensions. We'll discuss about dimensions, that how a question has to be approached, and prepare basic dimensions of those questions. Rights recognized under article 21 over the years कैसे कैसे हुआ है, right to live with dignity, right to livelihood, right to health, clean environment, education, shelter, privacy, reproductive rights and autonomy. It is a very hot topic. And you should prepare your notes under this topic as well. I have given you two themes on right to life and personal liberty, environment and privacy. Now, in environment, how we have to approach it? Constitutionalization of environment. How judiciary is expanding its scope. Like in MC Mehta, it was said that right to live in a pollution-free environment. Then what was said under Law Citizen Forum wala case? Precautionary principle. MC Mehta case mein one more thing was added ki absolute liability was given. Earlier it was a very restricted or subjective liability, but after MC Mehta it was a absolute liability. So how Supreme Court or the other courts are expanding its horizons. So these are the cases. Of course, if you write case laws, it will help you fetch extra marks. अब तो UPSC आगे से ही पूछने लग गया है, write relevant case laws and such things. Then recent, अब इसको current affairs से कैसे अपन को add on करना है? Firecracker regulation, balancing fundamental rights versus, again, this is also one of the topic, कि how we have to balance the fundamental rights and state restrictions. Like there will be always a tussle. So write both pros and cons and how we can approach or how we can look a solution towards it. So broadly think, if you have right to environment, right to live in a pollution-free environment, then think about how, what are the probable dimensions under it through PYQs. Now, privacy. Second topic, second theme is privacy. Right to privacy, KS Puttaswamy case we all know. Data, अब इसके अंदर how over the years it has been evolved, data protection. Digital Data Protection Act, Personal Data Protection Act. UPSC has already asked question in GS3 in 2024. Like say, write the salient features of Digital Data Protection Act. Now it can ask in GS2 as well, but it can be asked under Article 21. Understanding my point? So since it has already been asked and it is a hot topic, you should prepare notes on it. Aadhaar judgment, surveillance versus liberty. Again, a very what should be the basis? Liberty when it comes to the fundamental rights of citizens and surveillance by the state. What's the perfect balance between the two? Because there will be always a trouble or tussle. Citizens would demand कि उनके rights preserve हो, उनकी privacy preserve हो, लेकिन states की भी अपनी duties है. State cannot look into an individual matter. It has to look over a broad society. So उस aspect पे अपन को देखना है. DNA testing, already asked question in 2024. अब इससे अपन कैसे और इसका horizon expand कर सकते हैं? Bodily autonomy and reproductive rights. जैसे सुचेता श्रीवास्तव case of 2009. You'll read about it once you like. Women were given the rights regarding abortion. Navtej Singh Johar case, decriminalizing homosexuality. What was it? It was just reproductive rights and bodily autonomy. NCT case, NCT Delhi case of 2022. Abortion right was extended to unmarried women as well. So it has evolved over the years and it is a hot topic since it comes under already asked theme of privacy. Okay. Now, dynamic interpretation of constitution. Living document doctrine, केशवानंद भारती केस के बाद, मेनका गांधी केस के बाद, नवतेज सिंह जौहर केस के बाद, and as I said कि now it is more adaptable and receptive towards the changing patterns or changing social conditions in the society. So this is also one of the themes, as I have already discussed, कि dynamism या फिर judicial interpretations बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं इस चीज़ में. So you should be prepared कि how, and इस चीज़ से एक और dimension निकलता है, which is challenges. And since it is a subjective thing, we cannot objectively define ki, okay, these many, they are so and so rights under Article 21 and that's it. It will keep on evolving. So there is no end to it. So prepare both pros and cons and then a way forward. Under the topic, dynamism of constitution. So this will be a one-pager note. That's it. Environment, LGBTQ, rights, privacy, euthanasia, common cause का case हुआ था 2018 में, where passive euthanasia was allowed. So उस चीज के अंदर है कि अब वही बैलेंस है. इसके अंदर ये चीज इंक्लूड करी गई थी कि राइट टू लाइफ में राइट टू लिव विद डिग्निटी भी आता है. So does it also include right to die with dignity as well? So now it is a very probable topic. आपको पता चल गया. Now prepare notes on it, very short notes. Do not dwell very deep into it or do not dwell कि 3 to 4 pages इसके ऊपर नहीं. Very concise notes, very short notes. As soon as the question comes, start writing it and just move on. That इतना ही समय मिलता है अपन को. 7 to 8, hardly we get 7 minutes in a 10 marker and 11 to 12 minutes in a 15 marker question. So write in your note, whatever you will be writing in your notes, just remember कि उतना ही लिखो जितना आप replicate कर पाओ in your actual exam. Unnecessary burden करोगे, you will be not be able to filter out the content while you will be writing the answers. Okay, because there is so much content in the market. If you start running after it, it will be like lot of content, and when you will be writing the answers, you will be just confused. So prepare notes, read only that thing which you think you will be able to reproduce in the actual exam. So when I'm saying passive euthanasia, it's a good topic. You should prepare notes on it. But only one page a note of one side. That's it. Pros, cons, way forward, that's it. Move on. Now, probable topics. Digital rights, AI surveillance, facial recognition, data privacy bill. I'm just giving you a gist कि इस topic पे ऐसे सोचा जा सकता है. Health rights, क्योंकि right to health is one of the important right under Article 21. So health rights पे क्या-क्या आ सकता है? Right to affordable health care, vaccine equity after COVID-19, reproductive autonomy, surrogacy, abortion right. This NCT Delhi where abortion rights were extended to unmarried women as well. Climate change litigation, climate change very important topic, and it comes under right to environment. Right to life for future generations, right to sustainable development is also a right under Article 21. Workplace dignity, gig workers, right to decent working conditions, Vishakha guidelines, after which POSH Act came. So these all things are connected. So try to establish link between them. Right to die with dignity, euthanasia. Now, probable themes for UPSC means 2026. It's just a gist of what I think based on my research, based on what I have seen कि Article 21 में after going through all the questions under Article 21 कि इन चीजों से आ सकता है. Of course, it's not a very exhaustive list. It can be molded and expanded by you as well. जैसे right to health मैंने सोचा था post COVID, right to clean and sustainable environment. Right to privacy versus state surveillance, very hot topic. Digital constitutionalism. अगर environmental constitutionalism पूछा जा सकता है, then why not digital? Right to dignity at workplace. Gig workers. Labor codes 2020 is already in news. And question इसके ऊपर आ चुका है 2024 में. And in GS2 only. So UPSC can connect on that. That's how questions are to be predicted based on PYQs. right to die with dignity, again, balancing fundamental rights, religion versus environment, firecrackers. So these are some of the probable themes which I prepared based on my understanding. And again, I'm saying it's not an exhaustive list. It can be expanded by you. I've just given you an example of how a topic has to be approached. So whenever you are making on any topic, try to follow this pattern. I'm only saying trying because सबका अपना अपना वो है, किसी को follow करना होता है, किसी को नहीं. But PYQs is a very authentic resource, anytime, any day. And if you are able to, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, under Article 21, there are hardly 5 to 6 topics: text, scope, evolving, dimensions and expanding horizons, environment and privacy. That's it. And it will hardly take 9 to 10 pages of yours under Article 21. And your Article 21 is done. Getting my point? So that's how a topic has to be approached. And that's all from my side. Anything you want to ask?
For each important articles like Article 19, Article 21, Article 24.
हाँ, like इसके लिए भी go for PYQs. Like Article 21 is a good topic. That's why questions are being asked repetitively. Not every article is important, which we think is important. So Article 21, Article 19, rightly quoted, Article 14. These are important articles, but do not go for every article. Be very choosy and be very conscious. And uske liye bhi, what is the source of your answer is PYQs. What topic has to be prepared is PYQ. How the topic has to be prepared, the answer is PYQ. This is again, Article 19 would be taught by Ashok sir only. Anything else you want to ask? Regarding, yes?
Government can be interlinked with GST topic.
In GS3, environment has to be approached very differently. It's a more static in GS3. Here it has to be linked with governance. No, case laws would not be very important or would not be appreciated in GS3. GS3 paper is altogether different from GS2. Writing case laws would not fetch you extra mark. I don't think so. Okay. Anything else? Yes, please. Indian polity. I took Lakshmikant and I prepared notes of these like in a manner which I have told you. PYQs ke basis pe for mains. For prelims, I totally relied on Lakshmikant. Done? Okay.
So I'll just start with Article 19. If you have any doubt about how this session has been going, you can ask it. I mean, if you have difficulty in understanding the points which has been discussed, it'll be good time before I start so that I have the idea where you are lacking in the sessions, because I think more or less it'll be on the similar lines. Any questions? No? I think they did their job really well. So you understand everything. So apart from the things which has already been discussed, I'll just say a couple of things that when you're looking at question, just look at the question, because question is not a topic. There is a misconception that whenever you're looking at Article 19, whatever you know about Article 19, you just have to put it there. But every question has a context. And recently you have been seeing, I think, PYQs this year also, if you're seeing the question, there is a lot of context before the question. So when you come at the question, there's a lot of context. And one of the difficult question, I think, would be that whether how much you have to use the context when answering a question, how you have to put it in the structure. For, let's say, say that there's a lot of issues which are going on Article 19. Recently, we have seen in this judgment. Now, tell me the limits on Article 19 which has been put by the government. Okay. The question is about the limit, but there is a context of the issues. So how do you use it? That's another point. My idea is that whenever you're introducing, use the context there only. You don't have to put it in the structure. You don't have to write points on it, because since it's not the major demand. That's one point. And second thing is that when sir was talking about brainstorming, I was also thinking about it, that how do you brainstorm? Obviously, I mean, you'll have these templates and you'll prepare it, and I'm hopeful that you'll be really good at it. But my point is, whenever you think about a subject, think about the imagination of a subject. Okay, any topic that there is a center state relation. So think about a center government and think about a state government and how there is a tussle. What are the things which are there in the newspaper? So imagination is always important. There is a beautiful scene in Tare Zameen Pe, if you have seen the movie, that he says that he says that the guy who is not able to read properly is not never able to imagine the apple. So when you teach him APPLE, apple, he just mugs it up and he doesn't know it. So that imagination is important. Why I'm saying it is important? Because when you imagine an apple, you imagine its cover, you imagine its shape. That's how when you think about any particular topic, you imagine everything about it. And that's why imagination becomes really important. And third thing is that when you're, I mean, obviously devoting your PYQs, you'll be taking the sessions, and you'll be, I think, guided thoroughly about it. But my understanding is that around everything, always keep the PYQ sheet with you, so that you understand which portion is getting how many marks, how you have to study them, what kind of attention you should be giving. For example, Article 19, I don't think it is that much important compared to Article 21, because since recent question has been about Article 21. You understand my point? So always keep it, and as much as you'll be relying on the discussions, I think more it is on you to prepare it. I mean, you have to be that much serious. These sessions always help because they help in maintaining the discipline. They help you guide how to think, what to prepare, but it also, comes down to you. With that, I'll just start with the topic. I think not a lot to be discussed. So how should I do it? That's another point. Yeah. So why Article 19 is important? That's also another imagination you should have, that why we are studying it, why it is the most important article, among the most important articles in from 14 or 13 onwards to 30. Why it becomes? Because it talks about people's right to speech, it talks about movement, cooperatives, these things. And these things are very contemporary things, which becomes very important when you talk about Indian society. Right to free speech and expression is an important part. That's why it is important. So that imagination always help. Why I talked about imagination now, I think you'll get a more clear idea that you have to think about speech and the case laws which are going on. There is always a debate about free speech and then restriction on it for national security, for other purposes. That's why you have to study it. And people versus state, that also again happens in Article 21. It also happens here, that lot of this article is usually against the state. Article 21 is also again common people, and Article 14 is also again common people, but here it is just about the state. So most of the Article 19 is against people and state, people's right, and who's going to restrict state. So you see restrictions mostly when it is given in Article 19 sub clause 2, 3, 4, and so on. It is basically restrictions by state, and this imagination will help you think about the restrictions again. So that imagination comes, and you need judicial intervention, because obviously when people and state is there, state has a lot of power, people are not having, so you need judiciary, right? That's how you're going to imagine it. And how to, yeah. Yeah, these are the questions. So just have a look at it and what you can figure out. Try to think about, just before you look at it, I would say just try to think about the things that you will need to answer these questions. Okay, what you will need. When sir was talking about that, you will be thinking, when you're looking at PYQs, you'll be thinking how to make your notes. Just see the question and think what you need, and what you need will be your notes. Okay, so that you don't prepare something which is not needed in the questions. Just look at it and think what is needed. I would like to ask anyone, take your time, 30 seconds, and then I'll ask anyone from the first question what you need in the first question. Okay, take your time, think about it. Everybody read the question? Now anyone who is having idea about what you'll need in the first question? Anyone? I'm not looking into specifics, just tell me basic, very basic, what you'll need. Go on. Yeah. What else? Yeah, freedom of speech. What else? Go on. Since I'm not talking about sub theme, I'm talking about whatever you will need about that topic to answer a particular question. That's what my question is. See, understand? Go again. Anyone? Of, right? What else? So basically, arguments in favor of freedom of speech. Yeah. What else? Yeah. Right. 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 So the if I sum it up, it is just favor of freedom of speech, and then there are certain areas where it should be curtailed. That's it. These two dimensions. What else? Constructive criticism of Article 19. So that is what favor and against, right? What you were saying? Transparency and right. So to balance this thing, we need transparency. So we should also look at how we can balance it, right? That is one way to transparency, and there should be certain principles which we should be following. Then judicial interventions, judicial principles, those things, right? So overall, if we look at, also I'll talk about, these are the bit advanced thing. You should know what Article 19 is. That's the first thing you need. Okay, you need the text of it. So you should go and read that. I'll just go through the next slide just to, there are more questions to it. I won't be discussing the question because you can read it yourself. I can discuss each and every question and tell you what to write, but I'm just telling you how you can look at the all PYQs and think about what you should be writing. Okay. So yeah, text of Article 19. Read the basic text, understand it, second, understanding of it, so that you, when you understand the things, how do you understand it is what I was talking about, imagination. That you link it with current affairs, you think what is the basic idea about Article 19. Okay, that thinking will not just help you here, but everywhere. In prelims also, I think it will. Then judicial intervention. Again, when we are talking about balancing, the people are not having power, state is having power, so we need judicial intervention to balance it. And then linkage with other fundamental rights, because that has been one of the judicial evolution which we have seen, that judiciary has interlinked Article 19 with 14 with 21, that freedom of speech is also a way of expressing yourself, and it is also right to life. Okay, that thing. And then you'll talk about sub themes, which I think Sachi ma'am also was talking about, that in each of the topic, which is the theme which is most repetitive. What I have found is freedom of speech was repetitive, and then movement, that one person is going from one place to another. What is the argument in favor of that, and what are the restrictions? So just think of it. If I have to, I'll give you another 30 seconds to think, that when you think about movement of people, do you think, what do you imagine when people move? What would be the problem that would be happening? Anyone who can come up with, take your 10 seconds. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, like, okay, large amount of people migrating, so there'll be economic stresses here and there from the place they're migrating and to the place they're migrating, right? Good. What else? Cultural, environmental, very good. What else? Language. That's it. That's how you have to think general. Don't be restricted by the idea that you have to be very specific in everything. I have to use case laws only. Think about your general sense always has to be there, that what is going around you. Okay, just imagination. That's what sir was telling. And that framework, since what I'm telling you is general thinking, sir will tell you to be specific. He will give you frameworks in specific domains, so you will become more pro in it. Okay, that's the idea. Then that I've written. And then current linkage. And current linkage, I think, will happen when you read newspapers. You have that imagination. Linkage, easy. And then future themes. So this current linkage only will help you to determine what are the possible themes where it can be asked. Again, future themes can be determined by sub-themes, because that's one of the probable areas. So probabilities, they'll ask you again. And then that's it. That's pretty much it. That's how you have to prepare. This is more or less dimensions, how you have to think about an article. And this can be valid anywhere. Sorry, I'm taking a bit more of your time, but I just want to explain these things, that these are the dimension why you have, when you have to think about a particular article, think about its constitutional context and philosophy. Again, why it is asked, what is the constitution talks about it, where it is placed, whether a right is a fundamental right, okay, that thing. So when you make it a fundamental right, it is very essential itself. So have that imagination. So think about constitution and its philosophy. Okay, details you can read. Okay, right. Then scope and benefits. What is the scope of an article? Okay, where it is applied and how it is beneficial. General things, but that's the dimension you have to think about whenever you're thinking about that. And structure, how the structure of the article is. Like, for example, Article 19 has two parts. One is about the rights which are given, and then we are talking about the restrictions which we have. Okay, so think about that structure. Restrictions has been given, elaborated, why it has been there, why it is not there for other articles. You know, have that imagination, think about it. And this will only come when you have this template. And these why templates are important to think. I'm not giving templates to write per se, that just take these templates and write everything. You don't have to put it there. The idea is to think on this and write. You understand my points, that it's this thinking which I'm telling you, to look at these dimensions and think and then write, not just to copy paste everything. You don't have to use these subheadings there. Okay, that's the idea. Then think about judicial doctrine and interpretation. Why I have not written amendments, I don't know, but you should add that also, because evolution of a particular article is not just about judicial intervention, but it is also about amendments. And we have seen amendments in Article 19, so we should include that. We may miss it for Article 21 because there is no amendment in that, but you should have that amendments in Article 19, right? And then interrelation with other rights, which I've already talked about, and then digital age extensions, because since now we have seen this is one of the most prominent areas, digitalization. So whenever you're going to talk about any article, whether it is 1921, you have to see its validity and digital sphere. This is detailed. These slides are not important. I think you have covered these slides very much in your static. I've just given this to help you see that how you should be having this in your notes. You should have this. Nobody is going to tell you how to, but you already have this in your static books, but you should have these. Why you should have these is that this was asked. This is a previous year theme. This is asked. So if you write these things directly as text, it adds value to your answer. Okay, this is how you have to prepare. I'll be not explaining these things, but this is how you should prepare. And then reasonable restrictions. I've not written for everything, but just see Article 19 on freedom of speech. These are the restrictions. Okay, and these were added later on. So these all were not there. They came with amendment. You should also look at amendments. Then reasonable restriction on movement. These two. Again, why these only? Why I added these two slides? Did you know this is already in your notes? Why I added these two? Because this you must be having. Why? This is sub theme. You understand? Because sub theme, even details are important. If a 10 marker is coming and you're not having this, how you will write it? Again, that's why the slide is there. Otherwise, there is no point of putting it there. Reasonable restriction, you all know. And then these are the judicial explanations. You can read it by yourself. You already know most of them. I don't have to tell each of them. Then right to movement, again, judicial interventions. Then amendments. Okay, this is also what you have to prepare. And then principles, what you have seen. So these are just normal things that you should develop this idea what are the basic principles which the court has developed, and you can use it. You can use the restrictions must be placed by law and proportionate, that the government has said. Proportionality principle, reasonable restrictions are allowed under this thing. General things, I think. Then current linkage. Okay, these things were recent, last year only. Okay, last year, this year, that's it. This is how you have to read. Recent, very recent. Okay, any doubt in that? How? Because that's the usual problem people have, that how to link current affairs. Any doubt in that? Nothing? Future themes. Again, why these future themes? Can anybody tell me that why this theme cooperative is there? Yes, what else? Good point, actually, good point. What else? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, good new scheme. Yeah, talk about more polity related. There was a case law, I think, 97th Constitutional Amendment Act. It was partial. 97th Amendment was repealed, I think, because exactly that's the point. Okay, so my idea is that whenever you're looking at current affairs and you're looking about a static topic, think about the exact core of that theme. If I'm going to ask questions on polity, the idea would be that there is a judicial judgment on it, there is a proper law on it. I won't be thinking about schemes when I'll be talking about static topics. Schemes will be more related to scheme type of topics. For example, SHG, cooperative. If there is a policy on cooperative, the more chances are that the question will be on cooperative, direct cooperative, how it helps, what is the policy, what the government has done, something like that. Okay, so if there is a more political judgment, then you look at these things. Again, something to think about when you're thinking about current affairs and future prediction. Again, see, anything else in which you have doubt? Okay, leave it. What other doubts you have in general? Answer writing. No, never. Again, I in the beginning, one point I said that always put answer to the question that is asked, not on topic. So since the question is not fixed, then you can't fix the introduction. What you can fix, I'll tell you what you can fix. Let's say there is a question on cooperative. Okay, right? So you know about data of cooperative, and I said that in the context I have given, cooperative have become significant in farmers' life. Okay, so you give the data and then you say this data shows that it has become significant in farmers' life. Again, explanation to the context, so you are answering the question, not the topic. All right, anything else I should add? Any suggestion from your side? No? Go ahead. What else? If your class notes are not, actually enabling you to answer questions, then you have to. Again, same thing I would repeat, that if it is not helping you able to answer questions, then they're not important. For example, if cooperative, if you don't have the structured notes, it will become very difficult for you to pick what you have to answer a question. Cooperative, you need data, you need why they're significant, what are the challenges, what the government has done. If it is written in that format, you don't need much. But if it is not in that format, obviously you have to make notes, because what happens is when you'll go at the end of your preparation, let's say 2 weeks before mains, you need that structure in your mind, you need that mind map. Okay, yeah. Prelims or mains? Mains, I would say look at the syllabus, because otherwise there is no point. You don't have to collect current affairs, you have to collect current affairs based on the topics, since there is a detailed syllabus of mains examination. So always pick up the current affairs which are there related to those topics. One of the things you can do is simple thing, very simple, go to Google, write any topic and write PIB. They have released some documents, so your data is also given by the government. In a one page, yeah, you can write selecting from these topics and then you can compile it. Again, I would say that if there is food processing, write all the current affairs briefly, and you don't need that much current affairs that you think. You don't need a 2-page current affairs for food processing industries. You need 1 or 2 lines, that's it.
Yeah, many students have been asking the question related to the one-pager notes or the data and all, right? You need to understand one thing first. Like, what is the purpose of one-pager notes or the purpose of the short notes you are talking about? Like, so basically you need to understand this part. And I think you have asked the question related to the notes which you are having and how to update it, right? See, again, this part I have already explained, but I'll make it more clear. For example, you have to prepare the notes on cooperative societies, right? In your basic notes, as far as the cooperatives are concerned, what all data you or what will be the structure of your notes, I'll tell you. For example, cooperatives. right? What you would have in your notes? Evolution, significance, challenges, and suggestion, right? This will be the broad subheading you are going to have in your notes. Yes or no? This is a static part. This is static. That is what I have told you. If you will go through the previous year's question, you will get this. Even in your notes, in your foundation notes, you will have this much of data. Even every book have this much of data. But the question, question kahan se aa raha hai? If this topic is not evolving in the nature, if it is not evolving, then this makes sense to have this much of note. But this topic is ever evolving, right? And for that, you need to update your notes. In what context this topic is evolving? For example, UPSC will ask the role of cooperatives as far as the women empowerment is concerned, as far as the financial inclusion is concerned, as far as the rural development is concerned, as far as the agriculture development is concerned. Yes or no? Now you need the notes for these aspects. This is the application of cooperatives. And the one pager note which you're talking about, even on YouTube or online, someone was asking, is one pager note is enough? Let me ask you one question. Do you have enough content first? One pager note have what? All the facts, data, examples, right? But bhai, pehle content to lao. If I ask you how the cooperative helps in financial inclusion, what all points are you going to write? Is there any framework you have in your mind? Now you have to think how to divide the financial inclusion itself. Right? As far as the financial inclusion is concerned, what are the various aspects you can think of? For example, in the terms of credit availability, or maybe you can say the loan, insurance, banking services. Yes or no? These are the broad aspects you have to think first. इसी को template बोलते हैं. This is what I call as a framework, and this is the habit you have to develop when we are brainstorming the previous year's question. And now you have to substantiate this with some facts, data, example. In one pager note, you have all this, but not this. और आप लोग पढ़ क्या जा रहे हो ये, और फिर आके बोलते हो रट के तो गया था, डेटा यूज ही नहीं कर पा रहा हूं. Does it happen or not? So why this happens? Because there are you basically you are skipping all the steps in this process, and you are referring the final document, one pager note. उसको रट के चले जाएं और बस आंसर लिख दें. No, this is the most crucial part of your preparation as far as the mains is concerned, and that is the reason this mains camp program is designed, so that we can sit together for 2.5 hours on a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and we can discuss the question. Just imagine every day if you are learning 5 keywords, I'm telling you, just 5 keywords or 5 topics. I have told you how many topics are there in the polity. Not more than 12 or 13 topics if you will start counting. Right? There won't be more than 12 topics which are important as far as the mains is concerned. Only 12 topics se question bar aa rahe hain. And we will discuss the templates. For example, we have discussed the center-state relation. Right? So that is the basic. First focus on this. Data, one pager note and all, this will definitely help you just to substantiate. I hope this is clear. More about the conclusion statement of answer. कोमू conclusion मेगा conclusion. देखो यार conclusion का बहुत ही simple था. मैं एक final in a very simple terms I'll tell you. You will never face the problem as far as the conclusion is concerned, right? Conclusion का idea क्या होता है? For example, if suppose what is the general flow in the answer? We write the significance. We talk about the challenges. We write the way forward. This is the general flow in the answer, right? Why do we write the way forward? To counter the challenges, to address the issues or challenges. Once that, and what we will expect, if we are giving some suggestions, solution, it will address the problem. And when the problem will be addressed, जब problem solve हो जाएगी, are you going to achieve something? Are we going to achieve something? What? Broad objective. For example, it will help us to achieve sustainable development goals. It will help us to achieve climate goals. It will help us to achieve the objective ideas in the preamble. It will help India to become Viksit Bharat, Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. Because these are the broad objective, right, which we will achieve if these problems will be resolved. Inclusive growth is one part. Gender equality, gender equity. This is what? These are the broad goal. Is it clear now, conclusion? And that is the reason why we say the conclusion, whenever you write the way forward, do not leave any scope of open-ended statement in the way forward. I have seen many students, when they write the way forward, they use very generic statement. For example, if suppose there is a question on the women empowerment, if there is a question on the women empowerment, what are the issues with the women empowerment and all, right? So for example, you have to write the reforms. So how do you write the suggestions? Focus on women education. Is this how you are writing the reforms or suggestions? है ना? ऐसे ही लिखते हैं हम लोग. Focus on this, focus on that. Now, what is missing in this? How? How to focus? And if we are going to focus, what will be its effect? So, if your answer does not have cause and effect relationship, cause and effect, if this relationship is not highlighted in the measures, you will not get the marks. अब अपने आंसर जाके पढ़ना कि रिफॉर्म्स में आपने कॉज एंड इफेक्ट रिलेशनशिप हाईलाइट हुई है कि नहीं हुई है. आई एम डैम श्योर आइदर यू विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट द इफेक्ट्स or either you will be talking about the reforms, only cause, not both the things. And it is not only about the reforms, even in the main body, you have to always focus on this. This will bring more clarity in your answers. I hope this is clear. Any doubt? And before we wrap up, if you have any problem in your answer writing, or if you want to discuss your notes, you can always visit Vajiram 7B building, the same building. We are sitting right next to this room, right? So the Shoaib sir will be there, Sachi ma'am will be there, I will be there, other senior mentors, and Mohit sir will be there. So you can discuss your answers. You can discuss entire strategy, in fact, because my friend, 3 months, 3 महीने हैं, the situation is do or die. And this is the most vulnerable time. Either you will be on track or either you will be out of track. And even you don't have 3 months, you have just only one or 1.5 months, because after that you will never be able to write the correct path. Once 45 days are gone, you will be out of track till next attempt. This is prelims clear हो जाएगा, मेंस में क्या करोगे भाई? So these 3 months are very, very crucial. So before you make any choice as far as answer writing or anything is concerned, you must discuss with the mentors. Okay, any doubt? Anything? Yes? See, second reading should be done through the question, not through the same book. You are talking about the revision. हाँ, देखो. Okay, so let me tell you one more thing. This is again a problem. As far as the revision is concerned, right? Many students have asked me this question. So what is the revision? What should be the process of revision? How do you revise the things? Suppose you have like 10 pages, right? You have 10 pages, or suppose you have like notes, the entire notes of the polity. How do you revise it? You read it once. After 10 days, you will pick up again, and you will read it again. After 20 days, again you will pick up and you will read it again, right? This is how we revise a thing. You are not doing the revision. You are not doing a revision then. Again, revision are two types. One is the passive revision, which you all are doing, and one is the active revision. You all are doing the passive revision. You are forcing your brain to go and read. Whether your brain wants it or not, you don't care. आपका दिमाग चाहता है कि नहीं रिवाइज करना, उससे मतलब नहीं है आपको. आप फोर्स कर रहे हो, भाई पढ़ ले अब. And this is the problem. You waste a lot of time. You don't actually revise. So the best way to revise is active revision. How to do the active revision? Suppose I have the notes. I have the notes prepared. Right? Now what I will do? I will pick up the questions. I will pick up the question. It will be PYQs or test series questions. Now I will start thinking, suppose the question is on the financial inclusion. Discuss the government scheme policy led to the financial inclusion. Now, when I look at this question, I will ask my mind, can you recall the data related to financial inclusion? Can you recall government schemes related to financial inclusion? If I don't get the answer, I will go back to my notes and I will read it. Because I am creating a space in my brain. Now my brain is like he's hungry, right? To read something. And there is a difference between both the process. I hope this is clear. Is the difference clear? So never pick up the book and revise blindly. You should have a purpose in your life. हमेशा बोलते हैं ना पर्पस के साथ. आपके पास पर्पस ही नहीं है रिवीजन का, जबरदस्ती रिवीजन किए जा रहे हो. ठीक? And this is the purpose. Always have the purpose in front of you and then revise it. Right? So I hope this is clear. Any other doubt? What if I have started my GS batch started 3 months ago, so mains bootcamp will make sense for me? Not. Dipanshu, it depends when you are going to attempt. See, Dipanshu, I'll answer. This is again a very common question. Many students have asked me, sir, what if I don't have the notes? If I have not prepared for the mains, can I start with the daily answer writing? Let me ask you one thing. Whatever the questions we have discussed, just tell me what was the role of GS knowledge in that. How much weightage are you going to think you will give to the knowledge? Everything was logic. So in the mains camp, we will teach you how to develop the skill to think. When you will start thinking only, then you will be preparing the notes. Otherwise, your notes are going to be same, like theoretical notes. So we will help you to develop the thought process to think about the various dimensions, and that like how to logically drive the answer, basically. Is this clear? Facebook, YouTube. Right? Any other doubt? I hope Dipanshu, it is clear. Good. Any other question? Zoom students, please. इसको on कर दो. Right? So, but still, if you will have any other doubts, you can, if you are in Delhi, you can visit us tomorrow, day after tomorrow. After that, Diwali festival will be there. So I'm sure you will be occupied with your family. But give it a thought, whatever we have discussed today. It will be useless if you are not going to follow the process. Trust me. Sir, in current affair, many topics needed to be covered in brief, not in deep. Yeah, current affair is what? Current affairs mostly provides the reference. And current affairs basically helps you to understand how the topic is evolving in the nature. That is the reason why we read the current affair. But most important part is linking. You need to link it with the PYQ. So note making on themes and not on whole syllabus, right? Yes, Sheila, you are absolutely right. Now you got the point, I think. Bit2 online, everything is available, man. You can definitely do it. No issues. Okay. Divyanshu, mains camp is different, sure shot is different. Shangavi, you need to fill the form and you can request to connect with me. Definitely the team will get back to you. They will. And if you are online, just write down a message that you wanted to connect it with me. You will, I'll get the information. Where it depends on your notes. If your notes are too bulky, you will not be able to revise it that much, like 10 times, 15 times. Because if right now I don't have access to that notes. Otherwise, couple of my students have prepared their own notes, like 70 pages for one subject, and they are able to revise it like every 5 days, 6 days. But they have followed the same thing. Megha, how to make short notes on daily current affair? Current affair, I probably have to take another session. Otherwise, in this session, it will be too late. Ajay, 3 classes per day, then I think it will be difficult for you to manage the timetable. Right? So I'll wrap up this session. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you in the next discussion. Thank you.